here with head coach John Cooper after a 79-62 loss to Ohio. Coach, your opening statement.
Well, I mean, it was a game of runs, obviously, and their runs were they had many more runs, I should say, and bigger runs. They started off the game, and then we were able to climb back in it. And then they go on a run there at the end of the first half. And then, of course, in the second half, I think we cut it to 44-41, somewhere in there. And then they go on another run, which makes it tough. But, we missed too many easy opportunities, too many buckets around the rim, too many layup opportunities. And then they make you pay. We did a good job, pretty decent job with the turnovers. We only ended up with 12 for the game. But I thought they had a better energy overall than our group did. And, we'd like to get to the foul line more, but at the end of the day, they're a very good team offensively. Their offensive efficiency is very good. So there's going to be pressure on you to have to score some. And when they went on their runs, we couldn't answer them. And they've got the ability to score throughout the entirety of the game. And so that makes it hard.
Question.
That Carter kid had himself quite a game, set a season high in scoring,
Right.
and mainly just working inside. I mean,
he's a good player. I'm very familiar. We recruited him. He's a very good player. Nice kid too. Comes from a good family, but he certainly did. And we've got to do a better job of defending him. And you'd hope that with your experience, a little bit of experience down there, you'd be able to defend him. But too many times, we got guys that are coming up. He's shot faking, we're jumping instead of staying on the ground and making him score over us and through us. He did a really good job of holding his ground on the defensive end, I thought. And, of course, he looks a little bit different than he was last year in high school. He's put on some pounds, but he's a really good player. He knows how to play and plays within himself.
There were moments when the team is playing okay and getting shots and then just missing. How do you coach through that? How do you encourage them to keep going?
I think I'm going to have to ask you the answer for that. I mean, you have to keep coaching. That's what you do. You get opportunities, some of the shots. They're wide open looks, and that's all you can do. And, obviously designing some different options and getting the ball where you want to get it. And now you've got to be able to make a bucket or get fouled. But you're absolutely right. There were open shots. We didn't make them. There were shots around the basket that we missed far too many and not able to play through traffic and through contact.
Along the lines of what she was asking, how, with a young team like this, how difficult does it make it on them when they in the first half where they're not really scoring very well? They're digging themselves a hole. Is it particularly tough on a young team like this?
Well, yeah. I think it's probably tough on any team, just to a certain degree, even a veteran team. But a veteran team understands better the ebbs and flows of games and realizes that 14, 16 points is not the end of the world. But, when you get a young team, an inexperienced team at this point, and you get down, the natural tendency is to try to take the game on instead of continuing to move the ball and get good shots. Because one of the things about them is a bad shot against them turns into a transition opportunity for Ohio. And, of course, Simmons, 6 turnovers, he doesn't ever do that. 1 assist, 6 turnovers for Simmons. That's something that you can't expect that to happen. But he does a good job of getting the ball to the right people, and he keeps their team, settled. So he does a good job with that and picks his spots. I don't remember how many points he had in the first half, but he ends up with 21 and really does a good job of finding those. So is it hard for a young team? Absolutely it is. But, that's part of it. But, you've got to understand, you've got to keep your composure and continue to execute.
It looks like they've kind of settled down after losing Campbell and have adjusted to it. I would say some of it might be their guard play because they look really composed out there and able to move the ball really well.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think there's obviously a couple of things. I think their experience shows. I think they've got multiple ways that they score now. Obviously, they shoot the ball a lot from three, but really what the three does, it opens up opportunities for drives and for them to pitch the ball to other players. And then, of course, with Carter playing the way that he played tonight, then that just gives him, an added person that can really, really create problems. I mean, Kaminsky goes scoreless tonight, but yet and still Carter ends up with 25 and 11, so he's able to pick up the slack. I would tell you the one thing in watching them on tape and that stands out is that can happen to them, and typically someone else can pick up the slack. I mean, they were 8 of 21 from three. The reality is I'd probably take that on most nights. They make 8. They typically are going to be around 10. So they don't necessarily kill you from the 3-point line tonight. As you look at their numbers, there's no one. Jerron was 2 of 5 that really shot it great for them. But Carter's 10 of 14. One of those buckets came from the 3-point line, and then the rest of those buckets were all inside, and so they were able to get points in the paint. There it is. You see it's 36 to 24. I just looked at that, and so that was a big factor too.
All right, any more questions?
It's been a tough go of it. Are there some things that you're seeing along the way, here and there, there might be some positive signs with either individual players or some of the things that they're doing that might not, be readily apparent on the scoreboard?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think one, I'll start with Milos. I think Milos is really starting to settle in and starting to play solid basketball. We've got to cut out some of the turnovers. But as far as being more comfortable and making the adjustment to the speed of the game, I thought that was apparent for him. So he's a guy that I think has certainly stepped up, and then of course Marcus was typical Marcus. He got his 10 and his 5, and he continues to get better, and obviously looking for the consistency from Mike and understanding how to keep everyone involved yet and still get his. But there are certainly strides being made, so I don't look at the film and say, hey, well, we're not doing anything right. I mean, when you get the ball in some of the areas that we're getting the ball in, then you've got to be able to finish, and good teams make you pay when they get in those areas. And then when we get some of the open looks, I mean, there's some shots that Jake got that you see him shoot every day in practice that he never misses, and some wide open ones, and he missed. So that's part of it, but you got to keep working. You got to keep taking those shots that he's taking. But, I think, we're doing a better job, although tonight it didn't show up. We were doing a better job on the boards. The past couple of games, we've done a much better job of rebounding the basketball. We did a good job tonight of not having too many turnovers. I'd like it to be 10 or less, but 12, okay, you can live with that. The question is, I always say, is what kind of turnovers are they? If they're live ball, those really hurt you. And we had some live ball turnovers, but I certainly think there's some areas where there's definitely improvement. Unfortunately, it hasn't shown up in the record or on the scoreboard. I do like all the young kids. I think they're continuing to get better. I thought Ben gave us some positive minutes tonight. Had a couple of breakdowns defensively, but his energy and his effort was there. But, I mean, who doesn't have breakdowns defensively? That's why you need your teammates. You got to play team defense.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Mm-hmm. Yep.